In the heart of California's Dyerville Forest, a hiker's peaceful journey turned into a nightmare. What started as a typical hike quickly spiraled into an encounter with something far beyond ordinary. Something huge, dark, and terrifying, with glowing red eyes that seemed to pierce the very soul. Was it Bigfoot, or was it something far darker? Something that still lurks in the shadows of these ancient woods. Deep in Northern California stands Dyerville Forest, where ancient redwoods pierce the sky like silent sentinels. Their massive trunks, some wider than houses, create natural corridors where sunlight struggles to reach the forest floor. Even at midday, an eternal twilight reigns beneath the dense canopy, casting everything in muted shades of green and gray. The locals speak of this place in hushed whispers. They tell tales of inexplicable shadows moving between the trees, of footprints larger than any known animal, and of strange vocalizations that echo through the valleys on moonless nights. For generations, stories of the Dyerville giant, as they call their resident Bigfoot, have been passed down from parent to child, each account adding another layer to the forest's mysterious legacy. Hikers report an overwhelming sensation of being stalked by unseen eyes. The feeling begins subtly at first, a slight rustle of branches when there's no wind, the sudden silence of birds, or the crack of a massive branch somewhere in the darkness. Even seasoned outdoorsmen find themselves quickening their pace along Dyerville's winding trails, especially as dusk approaches. The forest holds other secrets too. Park rangers have documented countless instances of equipment failure, compasses spinning wildly, and GPS devices displaying impossible coordinates. Some areas of the forest remain mysteriously unexplored, as if the land itself resists human intrusion. Weather patterns here seem to have a mind of their own, with fog banks materializing without warning, turning familiar paths into labyrinths of confusion. Perhaps most unsettling is the absolute silence that sometimes descends upon the forest. In these moments, even the wind seems to hold its breath, creating an unnatural stillness that presses against the ears like a physical weight. It's in these moments of perfect quiet that visitors report feeling most vulnerable, most watched, and most certain that something ancient and aware is moving among the towering trees of Dyerville Forest. The sun was dipping below the horizon, casting long, dark shadows through the towering redwoods of the Dyerville area. The forest, known for its serene beauty and isolation, had always attracted those seeking solitude, those who felt a pull to the quiet, untouched corners of nature. But for one hiker, this peaceful retreat would soon become a nightmare. This hiker, a seasoned outdoor enthusiast, had ventured deep into the forest that day, seeking the kind of tranquility that only the wilderness could offer. The redwoods stood tall and still, their thick trunks casting eerie shadows that seemed to shift in the growing dusk. But as the hiker moved deeper into the woods, a sense of unease began to settle in. At first, it was subtle, a slight rustle in the underbrush that didn't seem quite right, the soft crack of a twig breaking underfoot, a movement at the edge of their vision that vanished when they turned their head. But that discomfort soon grew into something far more unsettling. The sounds of the forest, the usual symphony of birds, insects, and distant creatures, seemed to fade. An unnatural quiet descended over the area. Every step taken felt heavier, and an eerie feeling of being watched crept up the hiker's spine. It was a feeling they couldn't shake, a nagging sense that something was out there, something waiting. Then, the first growl shattered the silence. It was low, guttural, unlike anything the hiker had ever heard. The sound vibrated through the air, chilling them to the bone. Their breath caught in their throat. The growl wasn't from any animal they could identify. It was deep, primal, a sound that felt more like a warning than an animal's cry. A shadow moved at the corner of their vision. The hiker spun, their heart pounding, but the woods remained still. There was nothing there. No animal, no person. only the heavy silence that pressed in around them. But the sense of being followed remained. A creeping feeling of dread seeped deeper into their bones as they continued on, each step more reluctant than the last. And then they saw it, a massive figure looming between the trees. Covered in dark, matted fur, it moved with an unnatural grace, gliding silently through the underbrush. The creature's eyes glowed a piercing, unnatural red, gleaming in the dimming light of the forest. The hiker froze, their blood running cold as the eyes locked onto them. For a moment, time seemed to stop. It was as if the creature was studying them, waiting, assessing. The noise that followed was louder, more guttural, and it sounded closer. The creature's movements were jerky, as though it didn't belong in the natural order of things. It wasn't the graceful loping of a bear or the stealthy prowl of a mountain lion. It was something else. Something wrong. Panic surged through the hiker's body, raw and immediate. Their breath quickened, heart hammering in their chest. The urge to flee became overpowering, and without thinking, they turned and bolted. Every step felt like a fight against the forest itself, branches scratching at their skin, roots threatening to trip them. But they couldn't stop. The growl was behind them now, closer, almost as if the creature was gaining on them. The hikers' legs burned with exhaustion, but they didn't dare slow down. The fear gripped them, each beat of their heart a reminder that something far too unnatural was stalking them through the trees. The woods, which had always felt like home, now felt like a trap, a nightmare unfolding with every breath. When they finally reached the edge of the forest, gasping for air, the noise faded. The creature, whatever it had been, was gone. But the terror remained. The hiker never spoke of the encounter, never sought out an explanation. But the memory of those glowing red eyes and the chilling noise would stay with them forever, a constant reminder of the mystery that remains in the depths of the Dyerville woods. Beyond the typical Bigfoot encounters in Dyerville Forest, a disturbing pattern of unexplained phenomena suggests something far more sinister lurks among the ancient redwoods. Numerous witnesses have reported residual effects after their encounters, unexplainable burns appearing on their skin days or weeks later, recurring nightmares filled with vivid imagery of glowing red eyes, and a persistent sense of being watched even after leaving the area. Many describe an unshakable paranoia that follows them home, accompanied by unusual electrical disturbances in their homes and unexpected equipment malfunctions. The forest itself seems to host an array of inexplicable events. Regular visitors and local residents have documented strange atmospheric phenomena, unexplained orbs of light floating between trees, sudden and isolated weather patterns that defy meteorological explanation, and peculiar time discrepancies where people lose hours without explanation. These incidents often cluster around areas where Bigfoot sightings have been reported, suggesting a connection between the creature and these supernatural occurrences. Native American traditions offer a deeper perspective on these events. Local tribal histories speak of ancient forest guardians, powerful spirits that protect sacred lands from intrusion. These beings were said to exist between worlds, capable of taking physical form when necessary to warn or drive away those who would harm their domain. The descriptions in these centuries-old stories bear striking similarities to modern encounters. Massive humanoid figures, glowing eyes, and the ability to appear and vanish at will. The interdimensional theory has gained traction among researchers studying the Dyerville phenomena. This hypothesis suggests that what people encounter isn't a conventional creature, but rather a being capable of moving between different planes of reality. This would explain not only the creature's ability to evade detection, but also the electromagnetic disturbances and temporal abnormalities frequently reported in the area. Government interest in the region has not gone unnoticed. Residents have observed increased activity by unmarked vehicles and aircraft following significant sighting events. Certain areas of the forest remain mysteriously restricted, with unusual gaps in satellite coverage and zones where navigation equipment consistently fails. These patterns mirror similar situations in other locations known for unexplained phenomena, suggesting possible official knowledge or involvement. Historical records reveal decades of mysterious occurrences in Dyerville Forest. Archives contain numerous accounts of unexplained disappearances dating back to the earliest European settlements. The area's logging history is marked by abandoned operations and unexplained accidents, with multiple companies ceasing activities despite the valuable timber available. These historical patterns suggest whatever haunts these woods has been present for generations. When compared to other cryptid encounters across the United States, the Dyerville incidents stand out for their consistent supernatural elements. Similar reports of glowing eyes and electromagnetic disturbances have emerged from wilderness areas nationwide, particularly in regions with dense forest cover and minimal human development. This pattern suggests these phenomena might be manifestations of something far more ancient and widespread than a single species of undiscovered primate. The most unsettling aspect of the Dyerville mystery is its implications about the nature of Bigfoot itself. The complete absence of physical remains, despite centuries of sightings, raises disturbing questions. If these encounters represent contact with something that merely chooses to appear in a form humans can comprehend, what is its true nature? The consistency of supernatural elements in these encounters, documented across different cultures and time periods, points to an intelligence that transcends our understanding of reality. This perspective transforms Dyerville Forest from merely a habitat for an undiscovered species into something far more significant, a window into mysteries beyond human comprehension. The convergence of indigenous wisdom, modern sightings, and unexplained phenomena suggests we may be encountering something that has observed humanity since our earliest days, choosing to reveal itself only under specific circumstances and always in ways that leave more questions than answers. Those who encounter the unknown in Dyerville Forest face a cruel paradox. Their experiences are too terrifying to keep silent, yet sharing their stories often leads to public ridicule and skepticism. Many witnesses eventually stop speaking about their encounters altogether, carrying their secrets in silence, rather than facing the harsh judgment of a world unprepared to accept such possibilities. Some have lost jobs, relationships, and their standing in the community simply for sharing what they saw among those ancient redwoods. Professional reputations have crumbled under the weight of these testimonies. Wildlife experts, Forest Service employees, and experienced outdoors people have found themselves ostracized from their fields after coming forward. The psychological toll is evident in their voices when they speak of their experiences, their words carrying the heavy burden of unwanted truth. These aren't people seeking attention or notoriety. In fact, most express a desperate wish that they could forget what they witnessed. Yet their stories persist, weaving themselves into the fabric of local culture. The Dyerville Bigfoot has become more than just another cryptid sighting. It now represents something darker, more sinister in the collective imagination. Parents warn their children to stay away from certain parts of the forest. Camping permits for remote areas have declined, and some hiking trails see far less traffic than in previous years. The legend has evolved from a simple tale of an unknown creature into something that speaks to primal fears of what might exist beyond our understanding. Despite these warnings, or perhaps because of them, Dyerville Forest continues to attract those drawn to its mysteries. Every month, new visitors arrive with cameras and equipment, hoping to document proof of the unknown. Some seek adventure or fame, while others are driven by a deeper need to understand what lurks in these woods. Local authorities report a steady stream of missing persons cases, though not all can be definitively linked to the forest's phenomena. Social media has amplified the forest reputation, with viral videos and photos sparking heated debates about their authenticity. Yet even as technology advances, definitive proof remains elusive. Trail cameras mysteriously malfunction, recording devices pick up only static, and photographs turn out inexplicably blurred. It's as if the forest itself resists documentation, preferring to keep its secrets hidden in shadow. Perhaps most disturbing are the patterns that emerge from these continued encounters. The incidents seem to be increasing in frequency, with reports suggesting the phenomena are spreading to previously unaffected areas of the forest. Whatever force dwells in Dyerville appears to be growing bolder, reaching further, touching more lives with its dark influence. The question remains, are we merely discovering what has always been there? Or is something in these ancient woods becoming more active, more aware of our presence, and perhaps more willing to reveal itself to those who venture into its domain? The mysteries of Dyerville Forest continue to haunt those who study unexplained phenomena. What began as seemingly simple Bigfoot sightings has evolved into something far more complex and unsettling. The convergence of supernatural elements, indigenous legends, and modern encounters points to a truth more frightening than any conventional explanation could provide. Whatever lurks among these ancient redwoods defies our understanding of what's possible. The glowing red eyes that pierce the darkness, the inexplicable time distortions, the lingering effects on those who encounter it. These elements suggest we're dealing with something that transcends our concept of reality. This is no mere undiscovered species, but perhaps a force as old as the forest itself. As more people venture into these woods seeking answers, the question remains, what truly awaits them in the shadows of those towering trees? Is it a creature of flesh and blood, a guardian spirit from ancient lore, or something even more alien to our understanding? The Dyerville Bigfoot phenomenon stands as a chilling reminder that some mysteries refuse to be neatly categorized or explained away. For those watching this who feel drawn to explore these mysteries firsthand, consider this. The forest seems to choose its witnesses carefully, and not all who seek answers return to share what they've found. What would you do if you found yourself alone among those ancient redwoods as darkness falls and heard heavy footsteps approaching from behind? Would you dare to turn around and face what awaits you in Dyerville Forest?